few more moments, then really this is going to be a very, very quick discussion. Very, very quick. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and dive in. So, for those of you who will be joining me or who are watching this via YouTube, this is part 4 of a series that I started called ReNewU, and we started back in 2017 because I felt that anytime you're going to implement a change, and especially if it's New Year type of style thing, which does not just merely apply to New Year's change, it just changes. You can use this to facilitate any kind of change in your life, but with the timing, I felt like we had to get ahead of the year. You can't wait until time and then decide you want to start something. It starts with kind of processing things ahead of time and starting to implement things, so that way once you have hit the runway, you're good. You don't have to slow down, you don't have to stop, you don't have to be like, oh, did I do this? You've already prepared yourself. So preparation, I feel, is very important when it comes to implementing lifestyle changes or changes to your mentality or thoughts or what have you. So ReNewU is the title. There are 5 Re's in the series. This week I will be talking about number 4. So just for a quick review, if you haven't already watched previous videos, I will give you the luxury of catching up very quickly. First one was recoup. Second one was regroup. The third one we talked about on the very first live was refresh. So this week we are going to be talking about an additional Re that I think will be great in the transition once you have, again, gotten rid of the residue. You have decided what things in your mental and emotional in baskets that you're going to keep and use towards your change, and the things that you're going to discard. And then once you have refreshed the connections that you need to make, disconnected the ones that you don't, and refreshed your school of thought, refreshed the things that you need to in order to restore your vision and everything, now it's time to refocus. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last week and give Google's definition of refocus. It says to adjust the focus of, or to focus attention on something new or different. The first definition pertains to lenses, specifically. It does mention eyes, but to adjust the focus of. Sometimes we need to adjust the focus. Sometimes things are blurry. And then there are times where we need to focus our attention on something different. So there may have been some things that you were focused on last year that you need to shift gears from and focus on a new element of that thing, or completing that thing, or you might need to take a whole new approach and refocus on something that you didn't quite have in. It was kind of blurry. You could kind of see it. You were trying to make it out. You were trying to work on it, but it never really came truly into focus. And then you just need to adjust how you're looking at it. You need to adjust your vision. Then there's another part of this I want to mention and touch on, which is peripheral vision. And the definition of that is what is seen on the side or by the eye, kind of like the side eye vision is what it actually kind of has here, when looking straight ahead. So the peripheral vision is what's in our, kind of in the corners or in the areas where when we're looking straight ahead, we can still see movement or we can still see something, but it's kind of blurry, but it's still, we're aware that it's there. So refresh, the importance of that is to get us to look at what have we been focusing on? What has compelled our attention, and for how long, and has it been productive? And if it's something that is so compelling, is it an asset or a liability to us? Is us investing so much into what has us compelled, has that been a good thing? Maybe we need to reevaluate that. So refocusing gives us an opportunity to kind of fine tune that lens. What lens are we using to look through it? Is it the lens of experience merely? Is it the lens of commentary? Is it the lens of criticism? Is it the lens of fear? Sometimes you might need to change your lens, or you need to clean your glasses, or whatever. You need to get another perspective. You need to get a fresh perspective. That would touch base with last week's refresh. Refocus. So this particular helps us to determine exactly what we're going after now. Sometimes we want to do a whole lot of things, but it may be best for us to zero in on a few things. Sometimes it's just best to do one thing. Just depends on your circumstances, your situation, what you have the capacity and the time and everything to do and to invest in well, because you want to make sure that whatever you are focusing on or refocusing on or zeroing in on, you have the ability to invest wholeheartedly in that. So if it's multiple things, you don't want to find yourself neglecting one for the other. If it's something that if you can focus on multiple things, do that. And sometimes we need to look at the list we have and reprioritize that list of focuses. Because again, it's about quality, and we want to be able to make sure whatever we're doing or investing in or reinvesting our time in, we're doing it well. Sometimes it is taxing when you have more than one focus. And then sometimes once you start focusing on something and you realize really what it demands of you and what all it's taking for you to maintain it, you do find that you have to give all your attention to it and that you can't divide your attention. So reevaluating, reprioritizing what you may have been focused on in 2017 or what you may have been focused on in the past, and readjusting that, maybe zeroing in on it, maybe being more detailed about it, maybe being more cognizant of it. Or else, if you had a focus that you plan on keeping, it may mean being more diligent about it, or a word I used last year, being deliberate about it. Because the intent is one thing, but deliberate, that kind of means you really mean that you want to do. You are taking the steps. You are painstakingly going through whatever it takes for you to get that thing done or to make that thing happen. So take a little time to refocus. Again, ask yourself, what lens have I been looking through? Excuse me, you may need to clean the lens. Is it the lens of fear? Is it the lens of procrastination? Is it the lens of a public opinion? Is it the lens of validation? The reason why you're focused on this is because you feel like, okay, maybe I can get some sort of praise or something, or maybe I can feel better, or maybe if I see this in this light and I pursue this, then I'll be perceived in a different light. Reevaluate why you're focused on what you're focused on. Then ask yourself, does this thing that has my attention, is that attention truly justified? Is it a time waster, or is it something that I need to find myself investing more time in? Is it going to be productive? Is it going to yield fruit? Or is it mainly just there to get me distracted? Because many of the things that we may choose to focus on may not be the best things for us to zero in on. There are some things that we probably have been connected to, or probably have been allowing to take up all of our vision and our peripheral vision too. It's all on the side and it's all on straight ahead. Probably is not healthy. So I think the more you take away and sometimes create a minimalist space for yourself and then build from there. Because the thing is, when you have too much you're trying to do, it's hard to work with too much. If you start off with less is more sometimes. You can always build upon more. But once you start taking away the other, it kind of gets convoluted. So I would advise you to, if you want to take a sheet, if this is something that you feel resonates with you, I would suggest journaling about it. Again, I'm a huge fan of journaling. I think it helps get it off of your mind onto the page, and you can see it from another perspective. Because there's one thing for a thought or something to be locked up here. It's one thing to hear those thoughts, and it's another thing to write them and read them back to yourself and say, oh, is that what I was? Now when I see it outside of myself, it seems different, or it seems like, why would this even be an issue? So Jot them down. Write a list of things that you want to focus on. Why do you want to focus on them? Why should they be priorities? Are they going to help propel you to the next position in your life that you need to be? Are they in line with the overall vision that you see for yourself? I think I touched on last week when talking about refresh, about the definition, meaning that it's a way to regain the vision that you have on a computer screen. And I use the analogy that the screen is our vision for our lives, and we're constantly trying to figure out how do we get this into the reality of what our lives is in like real time. That refresh is so important. So when we're refreshing, we want to focus on things in the vision that are going to put us there. We don't want to be focused on other stuff, other details that really don't matter. So let's be about what's important. Let's take the time to evaluate their importance and how we can leverage what we have to do against the things that we desire to do. Because there are things we have to do in life, and we have to, I know I find myself constantly shifting my schedule, reprioritizing. I thought I was going to do this and having to change it. And I was talking to a friend of mine not too long ago, and she's like, you know what, life is a series of adjustments. And it really is. You have to learn how to roll with it. We can't always be locked into our expectation and expect our lives to match that and then have a hissy fit when it doesn't and then don't want to adjust as a result. So we've got to do some adjusting. And then in any change, there is adaptation, there is growth, there's all that. It's not always comfortable. It's not always comfortable to have to take your eye off of something that you enjoy being attached to, but it's no good for you. So just think about that in terms of what you're focused on, whether that's just things or activities you're just doing. It's kind of like from my fallback video, which was the very first video I put out on YouTube last year when time changed. Sometimes we need to fall back from all the things we've obligated ourselves to and committed ourselves to. Then we're all worn out and we're tired and so sometimes we need to refocus our energy on us. It is okay to care about yourself. Self-care is not a bad word. As a matter of fact, you probably should use it more often in this year than you ever have. And coming off a year like 2017, self-care should be at the top of the list, I think. So that way, you don't hurt nobody. That wouldn't be good. Don't want to start the year off like that. Anyway, this is pretty much it. Like I said, I wasn't going to be very long tonight. Flying solo, which is just fine. Again, we're adjusting and adapting. And often, a lot of the things that I share are things that I have to testify to first. So, like, I'm trying them out on myself. I'm probably experimenting on people and they don't know it yet. But I can't really tell you something that I haven't either like researched or dug down or used in my own personal experiences. So just know I'm not just preaching and not applying. I have to apply it to myself first. And now a lot of this stuff comes from the things that I've learned in my own self-discovery journey. So I'm on this journey right along with you. I'm never exempt from feeling or getting locked into phases that I don't need this stuff because I do, which is part of my inspiration for creating this content. So again, let me know if this is at all helpful, if it resonates with you on any level, if it needs to be more deep, I don't know, or if I'm too deep already. So we have one more read to go, which will again happen here live at 9 on the next Tovahcateur Thursday. So share. Oh, 2 reminders. Meant to say this at the top, but I'm going to say it now. Turn on your notifications on Instagram. Again, that way you will know when these things, you'll be reminded because I post about it. And the second thing is I also do stories. So if you don't see a post, again, it'll be in an Instagram story. So please feel free. When you see that ring look like a rainbow, I've got some nugget or a Tovahcateur du jour or an announcement about a live or something like that that's that you'll want to know about so that you can be a part of it, okay? So thank you so much for your support. And I am out. Have a great rest of your evening. And again, let's go over the 4 that we have now. Recoup, regroup, refresh, and now refocus. So let me know how you're using those. Again, if you haven't already, you can click the link in my bio here on Instagram or on Twitter if you're watching this from YouTube, and you can catch up on the previous 4. They're a little bit more in depth because they're not straight off the cuff. So again, let me know which ones you have already started to implement for 2018, or let me know which ones you feel like you don't need, or vice versa. So thank you so much, and have a great evening, and I look forward to seeing you next time here on Creatively Speaking, the live version. Peace out.